Welcome everyone to our Hackathon for Change, which is all about bringing together change management professionals working inside government. I'm Alexandra Salamis. I'm a board member with ACMP Ontario and the local director in Ottawa, and I'm going to be your host this afternoon. And just some quick housekeeping before we begin. We are recording, I believe, as we speak. We're recording the plenary parts of the sessions today, so the breakouts won't be recorded. And I'm asking folks to just monitor the chat, as we will use it to periodically message you. The other thing about hackathons is they're fast-paced, so to help us manage that, our timekeeper Lori will play this sound. Okay, Lori, go for it.
Ding, ding, ding.
When it's time to move on to the next segment in our agenda. And if you have questions during the session, please use the chat function. We will endeavor to answer back as much as possible. And if we can't do that in the session, we'll try and get back to you. Well, not we'll try, we will get back to you after the session. ACMP honors the peoples and land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, and we recognize that sharing Indigenous past and present is part of the path to reconciliation. So I thought I'd start with WMIF. All change management professionals know the importance of WMIF, also known as the what's in it for me. So I thought I'd get us going by starting there. So over the next hour and a half, you're going to learn more about ACMP and how to become a member, and volunteering with ACMP Ontario and how that can advance your career growth, broaden your network, and advance the effectiveness of organizations in managing change. You're also going to have an opportunity to share your ideas and insights with each other around 3 questions. The 3 questions are: how can we better equip ourselves professionally, build community, and advocate for the need for change management in government? Because we'll be sharing all your ideas and insights with you, you'll be able to bring all this richness back to your teams to use. We're going to be putting all this into a report that we'll be sharing back with people. And finally, based on the insights, ideas, and direction we get from you this afternoon, we at ACMP Ontario can offer programming and events tailored to your needs as change management professionals working inside government. And now I want to pass the baton over to our president of ACMP Ontario, Koya, who is here to kick off the event with a few words. Koya, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Alex, and welcome everybody. I'm Koya Taiwo, president of the Association of Change Management Professionals in Ontario, called the ACMP Ontario. And on behalf of the board of directors and members, welcome. The pandemic has delivered almost a decade worth of change in a very short period of time, and governments have huge responsibilities to respond to these changes. And as a result, the role of transformation professionals in government has become even more important to getting us through this transition period. You may already know this. In a recent study, the #1 reason why CEOs and, let's say, leaders get fired is mismanaging change. It's outstanding. Essentially, there's now a growing trend, a growing need for more change professionals and change leadership in government at the federal, provincial, and municipal level. And I just want to give a shout out to you. We all know that change management is one of the most pressing leadership challenges of our generation, and getting people bought into change, executing on change is a monumental difficulty, and it's a difficult task. So for anybody like yourselves working in change, it does our heart good, and we salute you. We are glad that you're here today. So today we are focused on gathering your needs as change management professionals working inside government, and we are not going to address all the information we gather from today's session, but we hope to take away valuable feedback, like Alex has said, work hard on them, and then put in place vital programming and events that can make you even more successful. So joining us today is no other person than the Chief Operating Officer of our association globally. She's Amanda Pasternak. She's also the Director of Membership, Components and Volunteers for the ACMP globally. So Amanda, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Koya. It's such a pleasure to join you today for such an important conversation that you'll be having together. In my role here at ACMP, it is such an honor for me to see professionals like you coming together from across the globe. And I have the privilege of being able to see the community growing and thriving right before my eyes. And it's my privilege to join you today. So ACMP stands for the Association of Change Management Professionals. And it's a professional membership association that's dedicated to you. As Koya was just saying, those of you who are working hard, delivering on change. So our mission is to serve as an independent and trusted source of professional excellence, to advocate for the discipline, and to create a thriving change community. We exist, ACMP is here to help advance the career growth of individuals and the effectiveness of organizations by leading the way change works. So you may be wondering why all this matters to you, and I hope in just a few minutes I'll be able to share with you why being part of ACMP, our association, can benefit you. So being a part of ACMP and being a member means that you'll have access to educational opportunities, volunteer connections, networking engagements, and career growth opportunities. So first of all, I'd like to share with you that ACMP has an exclusive community, and it's called ACMP Connect. I call this community the central repository for all things change because it is full of discussions and resources that are shared by change peers, all that are searchable for you. They're accessible to you anytime. And also what's really wonderful is the ACMP Connect is an award winner. Just this October, what was that, last month already? Higher Logic awarded ACMP with a 321 Liftoff Award. We were recognized at the Super Forum Conference for having a successful launch. And this is why we are very proud of this award, because it was designed, built, launched, and grew because of efforts of members, volunteers, chapters, and all of those who've been engaging in this community. So one of the biggest perks of being a member of ACMP is that you can leverage the expertise of a change community across the globe anytime by asking questions, reading the answers to other people's questions, and searching through the history of the community, and you can find what you need. So I hope you'll consider joining ACMP and connecting with us in this community, both at the global level and locally, because ACMP Ontario has their own community inside of ACMP Connect. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about, that's volunteering. As I mentioned with ACMP Connect, our community, it is successful because of our volunteers. So I want to take a moment and just say a big, big thank you to the ACMP Ontario board and all of the leaders and volunteers of ACMP Ontario, all of you who are volunteers and make this happen. And you are leading the way change works locally in Ontario. So thank you so much for what you do. Volunteering is something that ACMP is passionate about and we care very much about, not only because ACMP volunteers give back, they help us advance our mission, but I personally have witnessed those who volunteer, there are doors opened, there's growth opportunities, there's connections made within volunteering that I don't see in any other way. So my biggest encouragement to you is to consider volunteering, especially at the local level. The ACMP Ontario chapter has volunteer opportunities available now. So you can go to their website and participate in volunteering opportunities there. This will greatly enrich your experience at ACMP. So if you visit their website, you can submit an application to let them know what you're interested in. This is a quick way to make the most of your membership at ACMP. Okay, so real quickly about our events here at ACMP, we strive to be the source of professional excellence for change professionals and leaders. So first of all, you can earn a certification called the Certified Change Management Professional and earn those coveted important letters CCMP that you can place behind your name. So being a CCMP is one critical way to set yourself apart. It demonstrates that you have a commitment and you have the knowledge and experience of being a change leader and professional. So our members, just by joining ACMP, have a discount to the application process for that certification and the renewal process as well. And whether you've earned your CCMP or you're just looking to grow more or find more opportunities and strengthen that change toolkit, we have many opportunities to learn more. For instance, we have 2 free webinars every month for our members. And if you miss the webinar, we have a resource library. And the resource library is full of webinars, white papers, presentations from many years that we've been filling this up with to share with you. And this is one of our #1 benefits, that you can go into this resource library anytime to access what you need. We do also offer special events. These are often free or sometimes at a discounted rate for our members. One of them that's coming up soon in January is a very popular series called our Masterclass series. This starts up in January, and this is 12 advanced in-depth sessions that are led by industry thought leaders. So, and last but definitely not least, every year we have a large global conference, and there is full to the brim of change content that you don't want to miss this event. I promise you. It's virtual this year, happening in June. I hope you'll be able to join us there. So now that you heard about ACMP and our events at the global level, I'm going to pass it back to Koya, who's going to share more with you about Ontario's events. I just want to thank you so much for your time here. If you have any questions at all, you're welcome to email us. I'll put my email in the chat. But also, I just want to thank you for having me here today. And I appreciate you involving in this conversation. I hope you can start this conversation tonight and continue it all year long as an ACMP member. So thanks for having me, Koya.
Thank you very much, Amanda. And we just want to wrap up with sharing with you some upcoming events at the ACMP Ontario. We have this, talking about CCMP, we have this ACMP standard review for CCMP applicants and aspiring change leaders coming up on November 24th at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Basically, the CCMP exam tests your knowledge of the ACMP standard. So our wonderful PD departments have come up with this initiative to give you an introduction to the CCMP, the standard, and key terms. And this is part of a monthly series to get you ready for your CCMP. We also have these upcoming partner events. In fact, I connected with somebody in Portugal. So talking about networking, and this is a very resourceful individual. And this series of events is called the Toronto Change Days. The Toronto Change Days, it's an event organized by one of our partners, and lots of people across Toronto, across the globe are coming in there. I was there on Saturday, actually, and I urge you to go to our website. We have, it's virtual, so it's happening on November 13th to the 20th. It started about 5:30 today, actually. There's a 10% discount for members, and the code is posted right there for you to take note of. It's ACMP ONT21 for Toronto Change Days. We also have the International Coaching Federation Toronto Evolve 2021. It's another virtual event, and this is happening on November 15th to the 19th. There's a $50 discount, and there's also a code available for you, which is the Partners Evolve 2021. Take note of this. These are some of those benefits of membership that we want you to be aware of, but I cannot emphasize this enough. I have met lots of people because of volunteering. We have volunteer opportunities on our board. We have volunteer opportunities at our chapter. Come out and have fun. Meet with your colleagues. Solve all those problems. Don't go alone. We're here for each other, and please come out, register, and there's a link posted in the chat for you to leverage. So thank you for coming, and I'll hand it over back to our wonderful host, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks, Koya and Amanda. Now that we've heard all about ACMP, let's find out where people are coming from. So we have a poll for you. We'd like to know, where are you working? And if it's applicable, select the bottom button to indicate your membership. So we'll give folks a moment to. And if there isn't an exact fit, select one that most closely represents where you work. Nice to see a spread here. That's great. Just to remind folks, we're going to be keeping all this data, and this is part of the data that we're going to be sharing with you. Some folks are saying they cannot see the results. Maybe I can read them out to you. So for core federal government, we've got 54%. For Crown Corporation and Special Agency, we're at 11%. Provincial government, we're at 4%. Municipal government's at 21%. Non-government's at 11%. And 25% of the folks attending today have membership with the IOCN Change Management Group, or the IOCN Government of Canada Org Culture and Change GC Collab Group. Great. Oh, glad to see everyone can now see the results. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's move on. Sorry, folks, lost my cursor. Okay, I want to do a bit of a deeper dive into what we're up to. And we recognize that there are many common needs. Whoops. I don't know why this poll is coming up for me. I'm just going to. Okay. We recognize that there are many common needs across all industry sectors, and indeed across the whole province. And at the provincial level, ACMP Ontario will be focusing on providing events and programming to meet those needs where possible. Now, having said that, we also recognize that where people work and who they serve is an important context that shapes the needs in a particular sector. And we figured that the best way to get at the contextual needs of different sectors was to bring sector communities together in their own hackathon sessions. Today's hackathon is focused on the government sector across Ontario. And the breakout group questions we will be exploring in the next few minutes are based on the 3 ACMP themes of professional development, advocating for the discipline, and building community. What we've done is we've taken these themes and turned them into questions that we hope are meaningful for you today. Coming out of the breakouts, we'll hear the highlights from each of the breakout groups and get some direction from you on where you think ACMP Ontario should focus its programming and event priorities moving forward. Later this week, we'll send out a quick feedback survey along with the report capturing all the hackathon content. Before we begin, though, I want to level set expectations about what ACMP Ontario can accomplish moving forward. We've only been around since early summer, so we are both a fledgling and totally volunteer organization. And to use the phrase, we are building the airplane while flying it, is apt for us at ACMP Ontario right now. And as Koya mentioned in his welcoming message, we will not be able to address all the needs we gather today, but we can promise that we will work hard to provide as much programming and events as possible based on our capacity. ACMP Ontario values diversity and inclusion. And one of the ways we do that is by recognizing the importance of enabling French language contributions. Today, to support French-speaking participants, we've arranged best we can for one French group, you'll see there group 2, and one bilingual breakout group, group 4. The remaining groups will be held in English. To keep the breakout groups smaller and more engaging, we have 2 breakout groups for each of the 3 questions and a lead facilitator for each group. And you get to select the breakout group you'd like to participate in. We may move folks around a bit just to balance out group numbers, and we will respect your choice of topic as much as possible. Your lead facilitator will guide you through capturing your ideas sharing, and then voting on your favorite ideas. We're going to be using Group Map, which is an online collaboration tool. And now I'll turn over to Suzanne, our Group Map expert, who will walk you through how to get to your Group Map room. Suzanne?
Thanks, Alex, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to be with you tonight. I'm going to walk you through some of the basic instruction for Group Map. And once you're in your breakout room, the leader for each of the room, which will identify themselves, will take you through more instructions. So Group Map is it's an online facilitating tool. It's real time, so your information is captured right away, and we can use it right away. All the information that you'll be entering in Group Map is confidential. No one can see what you wrote. We can't attribute what you wrote to you. Once I'm finished with the explanation, you'll receive a link in the chat. Once you have the link in the chat, you'll click on the link, and you will enter it will prompt you to enter your email. So you'll enter your email, and as you enter your email, a new window will open. Once you'll have entered your email, I know it's a lot of information, but don't worry, we'll walk you through. A new window will open, and it'll be important for you to follow the instruction to maximize your participation and contribution. So basically what's going to happen is once you've put your email in, you will be seeing this. And this is, at this point, don't do anything. Just wait till you choose your breakout room, and the leader of the breakout room will tell you what to do next. So without further ado, I'll stop sharing and I'll put the link in the chat. And as I said, once you receive the link, just click on the link. It'll prompt you to put your email address, add your email address, and you will see the screen I was just sharing with you.
So we'll open the rooms then.
Yep, Jeff, let's just see if people can see overall. People can see the ACMP Hackathon, and if you can't, just kind of put something in the chat.
Suzanne, have you sent the link?
Yep.
I can't see the link.
Okay, that's interesting because I only sent it to Lori, even though I sent it to I had put everyone, but it keeps reverting me back to Lori. So there you go. Sorry about that, everyone. Now you got it. So I can see that people are joining. So that's great. Good.
Suzanne,
yeah.
Mine says continue as Alexandra Salamis. Do
Yep.
I click on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we've got 26 people who've joined the map. That's great. Moving to 30. Great. And I see in the chat that it's working. So just stay there. Don't do anything. And now Jeff will send you the breakout room, and please assign yourself to the breakout room that you want to be part of.
That went so quickly, and I'm sorry, I have to apologize to Amanda. She was sharing some really great insight with us and got cut off. So sorry about that, Amanda.
It's
But,
okay. It's all good. I think you got the gist of what I was saying.
So is everybody back? 32, I think so. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating. We're really looking forward to the outcome of your discussion group. So as we, there was a presenter that was identified for each of the groups. So we're going to go in order, starting with the presenter of group number 1, and then after their 4 minutes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what I can do is I will put the results, the tada, basically, of your particular group in the share screen, so that you have it as a prompt to help you out. And from this moment on, Alex will take over, just to kind of do the MC of the plenary, and I'm going to be busy with the technical aspect of the whole thing. Okay? Is that okay, Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. And we were group 1, and we have Sarah who's going to be presenting our findings.
Okay, great. Thanks, Alex. So in group 1, the question that we brainstormed around was, what do you need to grow professionally in our complex government ecosystems to better equip you as a change management professional? So as you can see on the screen, or those of you that can see, we had 3 top points we voted on. One was practice with technologies like these that we can use. So we did that in our breakout room. The second point was new ideas for communicating and structuring change interventions for the government clients. And the third was how to shift the bureaucratic mindset of government toward greater flexibility, adaptability, and innovation. And then there was 4 runner-ups. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Give folks a bit of some time to. Oh, okay. No time. Sorry, folks.
Sorry, guys. Was too quick. You know what? Maybe what we could do is just have, I'll go to group number 2, but after the tada and after the person that's presented, we'll just leave 2 minutes for people just to exchange a little bit on the idea, if that's okay. Okay.
Sounds good, Suzanne.
So group number 2, I don't know who the presenter was.
This is Chantal. So it was the same question, but with the French group. So our top 3 elements that came out was to have a better comprehension of what change management is at the government-wide level. So basically better awareness of change management, so we don't have to restart all over again to explain what change management is, what's the return on investment of having change management in projects and all of that. So better education globally. Have available to us, I guess, tools that came out, but also measuring tools to measure better change adoption, as well as I'm just trying to translate so complex and transformational change management. So that right now many projects or many initiatives or change projects are very complex. So have a better, defined, I don't know, structure or tools to manage those kind of transformational change, and as well an aspect of within an organization when there's multiple change, trying to have those all integrated so we see the big picture of what everything is changing in one organization.
Well, that's great, Chantal, and thank you for the spontaneous live translation as you spoke. It's not easy. I can appreciate that. So let's move on to group 3.
So Amanda's the presenter for group 3.
So we were looking for ideas. Do we have to better advocate for the importance of change management so that our decision makers and leaders in the government will hear us? And the top one here is to find an internal sponsor to be the voice of the profession. So somebody to advocate for change management, understand change management, which is something that can be rare in sort of that sponsor or more senior leadership levels, and that in some organizations where it's not present, that's a challenge. In some, when it has been present, it's been a real advantage to progressing the use of change management in the organization. And then the next one is to talk about change in vocabulary that's strategically important to decision makers. And actually, one of the ones that's lower down, number 4, that kind of got connected to this was, a lot of our organizations or leaders care about risk. So if we can talk about change, and if you don't address the people side, what the risk is, and speak in that risk language, that's a way to talk about change that gets people's attention. And then we had conversation about the third one around coaching, and this is really through those trusted relationships that we've been with, as advisors. Once we build the relationships with people and become a part of their inner circle, we can start to coach them, whether explicitly or not, on that human side of change and why it's not so important, and then influence that way.
Great, thanks, Amanda. There's some really juicy stuff here. It's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, who's next?
Good evening, Ernest here for group number 4. So our question was very similar as it's getting displayed to the previous one, number 3, except this one had to focus with decision makers. So the idea is we have to better advocate, and even our responses are a little similar to the previous one. But first off, the one with the most votes is the focus on people. Too often, obviously, I guess the focus is too much on when it comes to like IT transformation, and while forgetting about the people aspect. So it's more driven by the technology, the budgets, the timelines, the dollars, and forgetting about the people aspect. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the risk of not effectively preparing for the change. So they again comes back to the idea of the language, the vocabulary. A lot of people talk about change management without really knowing what change management is all about. And it becomes almost like this cop-out terminology, the buzzword that just gets thrown around, and they figure, yeah, we covered it. Change management communication, we got it. There's someone working, it's all done. And the third one would be making sure that usage is measured with non-IT metrics. So too many times, I guess, we see that, we're measuring it specifically from an IT standpoint or from a data, but look at the non-IT related metrics in order to see is that allowing us to make better decisions? How can we better equip the leaders to better understand? So again, similar to others, but I'll stop right there. Thank you for hearing us.
Thank you, Ernest. Wow, some great stuff here. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Okay, we've got group number 5, the ta-da. Who's
yes,
the spokesperson?
Hi everyone,
Hi.
It's me.
Hi, me. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can whoever's managing the screen, can you shift a bit to the right because it's cut off at the beginning on the left? I don't know if it's just my screen or.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I'll just flip over here to my online. Okay. Yeah, we had a lot of great things come through, and a lot of it was everyone was kind of thinking in the same vein. So if we wrap it up to high level, like the top 3 things that we thought would be great to keep the change management community thriving outside of government is to, we talked a lot about a lot of our internal tools kind of being sunsetted, like the GC Connects and GC Collab. These sort of tools are sort of, as they sunset, we're looking at maybe using new common platforms that exist not only across government, but outside of the government. Some examples of that are LinkedIn. So more exploration on that and common ground on that would be good. Another idea we had was creating a network of change practitioners across industries. And this could be through, again, like an online platform, or it could be created a face-to-face thing, event, or like this, for example, like a hackathon. Hackathon is a good way to bring people together, to share business cases, best practices. Somebody had mentioned, workshops, or creating and, inviting some speakers, having like a speakers bureau type event, where, you get to maybe like once a month or once or twice a year, bring somebody to speak about what's going on in the industry. I think doing those we thought would be good. And the last one is not recreating the wheel and piggybacking on existing channels or systems that already exist in government. For example, the stakeholders management branch or division in your department may have some great ideas about how to engage people outside of government, because that's what they do on a day-to-day basis. So the suggestion would be to meet up with folks from there and see what can be applied in the change management world. I don't know if I missed anything else. My group, if you guys want to say anything, otherwise, those were the top 3 for us.
That's great, Sarah. Thank you very much. Okay. And last but not least, number 6, community again. Who's the spokesperson for community?
That would be Roddy's group.
Right.
So it's me, Rakesh Patel. I'm a spokesperson for this group. We're only 2. So I was voluntold. We didn't get much chance to discuss the ideas, but I think I agree with, we have the same question as our previous group, number 5. We discussed the point that you have the second number, that we need to, how we could expand our reach as a community in the private sector. And we added the organizing events in a private organization, like the same thing to build the network. But also we have a few things, discuss the strategy that were previously successful in tackling a change management challenge. So we can come up with some kind of challenge that allows us to share the experience and knowledge with the people, so that will attract the people. Participate in the ACMP Connect community. So just like I participated in one of the event in the past, recently, I think a month ago. So we could share some of the storytelling I have heard from one of the members from the ACMP, and also some of the presenters. So we could organize those kind of event and invite the people. Maybe we could go out and see that what other kind of industry and what kind of other type of communities in that particular sector. So like, if you look at the outside of government, it's most of the IT sector that we have in Ottawa. That's like a majority. We could look for like what kind of a community they have, and where we could introduce this change management in that, through that particular community. So it's very similar to what we have heard from the other presenter, that we could use the government stakeholder engagement system, but we could use a similar structure that is already in existence for the IT industries. I'm not from IT industry, so I'm not sure what are the, but there must be some kind of a community or practice in the IT sector that we could leverage to expand the reach of ACMP in that for the participants.
Great, thank you, Rakesh. Thank you very much. Now we still have a bit of time, so just want to open it up a little bit to everyone on the call here. What jumps out at you? What do you find interesting about the data we collected? I appreciate you can see it all in front of you, but some thoughts about that. Feel free to pipe up. Anybody?
From our perspective, from the community, it was interesting to see that, a lot of times in both groups, it was discussed of having a shared platform. And that was the topic that I got cut off on when we got looped back in, is that there's so many different platforms right now to connect with practitioners, whether it be LinkedIn or other social media sites or the various GC tools. So for example, there's GC Connect or GC Collab. To have one consolidated space where everyone connect would be super helpful. That would be open both internally, externally to government. That to me really stood out. And then in terms of some of the other points, I think from a learning perspective, there's all these certifications and different things you can do, but I've never really seen like a kind of mapped out journey map for a practitioner, like long term, or the ability to continue to get continuous learning each year. And that stood out to me too, both as someone working in this space, but as a manager looking to support their employees to continue to grow in their practice.
Thanks, Amanda. Any other impressions or thoughts? Or, I mean, I take your point, you know, that I think like a lot of things in life, change management is not a linear straight line, right? It's a type of profession where, you know, we kind of move all over the place as opposed to it being, you know, associated with what I call more traditional professions, you know, be it finance or whatever, right? It's a bunch of things all rolled up to one. Anyone else have any other comments? Oh, Sarah's mentioned appreciate the bottom line risk management comment. Sarah, do you want to say more about that?
Yeah, my background is actually in finance. So I think, you know, for us, it's very easy to you know, we've had a long tradition of systematic profession where people, you know, people always have a CFO. It's been like this for ages. So we're very mature when it comes to that. And so when I hear in the room people talk about, you know, convincing or, you know, getting that buy-in from stakeholders to say change management is important, and here's why, you know, the risk management approach I heard, the bottoms line, kind of here's how it'll affect your program or your service. And, you know, if you change, here's how your system will be better implemented. You know, when I hear things like that, I think it's really important for everyone else who's not a change manager to jump on board, because they see how it impacts their job. So if you're talking to a finance person, show them how, you know, the money will be better managed. If you're talking to somebody in, you know, a Coast Guard, show them how, you know, by changing certain processes or behaviors, their system or their way of delivering the Coast Guard services could be improved. So I think that was really good, and it jumped out at me.
Thanks, Sarah. Suzanne, I love this. A CMO, a change management officer, as part of the C-suite. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, I find sometimes, and Donna too agrees, I find sometimes change, pardon me, change management is put too low in the hierarchy, and it should be at the same level, if not, you know, at the same level as process changes, the IT changes, part of the PMO, if you will. A lot of times change management is relegated to the basement. So I hear you. Ernest, did you have something you want to say? I saw your finger go up.
Yes, thanks, Alexandra. So I think just to pick up on your point, I'm currently taking on a course with Telfer on leading change, but one of the big challenges that I was trying to get some support on is having that weight at the table when it comes to decision making pertaining to change management and communication. That is one of the struggles I'm actually dealing with right now. You know, without revealing too much, but we're trying to move to a new platform, SAP, S4HANA it's called. And the idea is, often what happens, despite all the great advice and ideas that enable better decision making, it's that there is that behavior at a senior level, right, where they mention change management, but they don't fully comprehend it and what it means, and as if they're too far apart from it, because the challenge becomes that I'm almost like that thorn in the side of everyone. Okay, let's push Ernest aside, because it's not that I'm complaining, but I'm trying to bring the voice to the table to have that equal weight. Because if you don't have not just the sponsorship, but the acceptance and that positive behavior at the decision making, it makes it very difficult to bring in the change management and to be at the forefront, as simple as even in your project charter or your business case. The people aspect, I've had to move mountains to try to move it up, and then it slips back down, and it's so hard. So if anyone has any better ideas to how to speed that change, despite all the great things, I'd love to hear.
Thanks, Ernest. I think it's a common struggle we all face. You know, I can remember years ago when no one even knew what change management was. So in many ways, we've come a long way, but we still have a lot further to go. Chantel, maybe if we get better at providing numbers and performance measures, we will get senior leadership attention. Absolutely. Did you want to say more about that, Chantel?
Well, not necessarily, but I guess that links back to some of the ideas that were shared tonight, right? What we need for development, for advocacy. But yeah, and if we want to be at the table, at this table, senior leadership, we need to actually speak their language, right? As was said before. So we need measures. We need to be able to measure progress, like how people are ready. What does that mean when they're ready? How is this going to impact or not the change and the performance of the investment that they're making in the project? So yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chantel. Stefan mentions coaching for sponsors. Yep, absolutely. I think you know, a lot of times people understand that they're leaders, but they don't know what that means to sponsor change, particularly on the people side. And Kate is sharing with us. Reach out if you'd like info on research on change management. Thank you, Kate. Did you want to say more about that?
Just that I read a lot. Some of my dissertation intersected with change management. I teach this stuff, so I'm happy to be helpful. I'm not a research house, but I'm happy to be helpful in terms of pointing people perhaps in the right direction.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for that, Kate. Stacy, it looks like you have your hand up. Did you want to jump in?
I did. I wanted to build on this idea of KPI for change management, because and how maybe this is where our two communities can really help each other, because I think it was Sarah was talking about in the finance world, you know, you have a clear sort of bottom line and so on. For us, we have programs, and it's sort of it's a little bit different, but it would be great if we could work together to create a sort of a suite of what how change management can what it looks like in terms of real measures in a public service setting. I know that there are pockets here and there, you know, we've got the GC workplace folks and they have some KPIs and so on, but then, you know, we have other pockets of other types of change pieces going on, and it'd be great to start to put together sort of like a catalog of how the KPIs affect programming, how it supports programming in measurable terms. So maybe that's something that industry meets public service can.
Yeah, always looking for synergies. Thanks, Stacy. Unfortunately, we have to move on. Let me just share my screen. So we've got our second poll, which is which area, so given what you've heard, which area do you think should be the #1 priority for ACMP Ontario to focus on? And so ask you, you know, just this is about helping us, providing us with some guidance, if you will. You know, as we mentioned earlier, we can't, you know, boil the ocean and address everything. But, you know, just to provide some guidance to us around, you know, should it be in professional development? Should it be in advocacy work, or creating a thriving CM community? Doesn't mean we'll only do the top one, but this will certainly give us some direction around that. So advocacy works come out on top. And then creating a thriving CM community, and then with professional development. So this is great. This will certainly help us in trying to sort of figure out and narrow down where we should be putting our efforts. So thank you for that. Also, too, I'm amiss in thanking all the presenters for presenting. I just want to say thanks, big thanks to everybody. We're coming down the home stretch, folks, and I'm just going to, got so many pop-ups on my screen. Let me just get rid of some of these. I just want to say that volunteers are our lifeblood, and we couldn't have done it without all these folks that you see here. Let me just get this out of the way. So I want to thank Amanda from ACMP Global, and our breakout group leads, Bravo leads, Koya, our president, France, Lisa, Stacy, and Roddy, thank you so much. Lori, who was our sound effects engineer, thank you, Lori. And Suzanne, our group map chief ninja, behind the scenes. Jeff, who's our Zoom wizard. Caitlin, who was our presentation slides guru. Catalina, our marketing whiz, and Elizabetta. Elizabetta, thank you so much for coming to my aid as we started to realize that this was growing and growing and we needed more volunteers. So thank you. Last but not least, I want to thank you, our participants. Thank you for all your time, your enthusiasm, and your ideas. I just want to say hindsight's 2020, and we really do wish we had had more time for questions and more dialogue. One of the things we're going to be doing is based on your feedback and our own kind of lessons learned debrief is looking to see how we might make these hackathons even better. Our contact email, Jeff, if you could put our contact email in the chat. So if you want to reach out to us or would like to learn more about getting involved in ACMP Ontario, you've got our Gmail address there. Also, too, I want to encourage everyone to continue networking beyond today. And if you'd like to do that, encourage folks to drop their email address into the chat and the organization that you're affiliated with. And so those folks who decide to share can reach out to each other. And if you want to learn more about GroupMap, which was the application that we used today, I encourage you to reach out to Suzanne. And Jeff, if you could put, oh, you already did, thank you. There's Suzanne's email right there. And oh, great, so people are sharing, that's wonderful. Give folks a bit of time for that. And, as I alluded to, the format that we used today was really an experiment for us. And so overall, we'd like to get your feedback on how effective or ineffective was this approach in collecting and sharing ideas. And please select one and give folks a little bit of time to do that. Love to see everybody sharing their email addresses in the chat. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, listen, thanks everybody for joining. As I said, after tonight, we're going to be compiling all this data. We'll send that back out to you. I mean, and the report is, yes, we're going to be building our own programming based on what comes out of this hackathon, but also encourage you to use the report in your own teams. There might be some really good ideas, suggestions, or perhaps some collaboration with others, folks who are sharing their email addresses in the group as we speak. And, it takes a village, as they say. So I want to thank everybody very much for coming. And I think that's it for us. So have a good rest of the evening. Take care and hope to see you soon. Bye now. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.
Bye, bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
That was Thanks, great. Everyone.
And